I'll turn it on. There we go. This is what it's going to look like. So you're going to be doing the same things that we've done before, making picture boxes, placing pictures in there, making text boxes, formatting the text, formatting the box. To do something different, we're going to make a text box that's going to be broken up into 2 different columns. Additionally, when you place a picture into it, right now I've got his photo and the text wraps around it. It's called text wrap. Sometimes it's called run around, so the text runs around it. But wherever I move this to, the text will automatically flow around that. And that's kind of a common thing that's done for pictures that's placed inside of text as well. So if you'll follow along with me, I'm going to do just the basics. I won't do the whole thing, won't submit you to all of that. But the layout for these instructions is kind of the same as the last one. I'm telling you what each text box should be, the size of it, the placement, and also what the size of each font should be. Does that make sense? All cool? Okay. Let's see. So we're in Indesign. Oh, by the way, if you go to today's Moodle page, what you need to download is the page information and the newsletter pictures. The page information is a text file. It'll look like this. If I double click on it, it'll open up in a program called Text Edit. This is just a basic text editor. So each one is broken up. Here's the banner information. Here's the first little bit of information on that. Here's everything else. Y'all kind of figure it out once you get into it. The second one is a zip file that contains all the pictures that we're going to be using in here as well. All right, let's jump into InDesign and have some fun. We'll close that one out. Okay. File, make a new document. First thing it's going to be, in this case, it's going to have 2 pages to it. And I know it's got 2 pages. I'm going to keep facing pages turned on to show you what that does. The size of it is going to be letter size. And remember, if yours isn't showing inches, so mine's actually showing points, I can type in 8.5 IN and then click on it, and all it's going to do is convert it back to point size, what it shouldn't be for there. For this one, we're going to be working in columns. If you've ever read a newspaper, you notice that newspapers are in columns, right? Setting up a document in columns allows you to fit text inside of it very quickly and very easily. So in our case, our document's going to have 4 columns to it, 3, 4. And the gutter is the amount of space that's in between 2 columns. In our case, we want it to be 0.125 IN. Of course, when I click off of it, it's going to convert that to picas. And the margins are just the little inside edges to make sure my text doesn't go all the way to the edge. I'm going to do 0.5 IN. Got the link checked off, so it'll automatically point, there we go, 3 picas and everything from there. We'll say OK. Give it a second to think about it. Cool, so here's our document that's set up. You can see, here's my 4 columns that I'm working with. The little distance that's between the 2 columns, that's a gutter. That would make for a great bonus question on a quiz when we have one. The gutter is the little distance between those 2 from there. Do y'all remember how to change your ruler? If it shows up right now, I want to convert that to inches.
Do you go to table?
Table? Not necessarily table. Here's the easy way of doing it, if you didn't remember. If I hold down Control and I click on the ruler, this will give me my pop-out. Now I can change it to inches from there. 8.5, and even on this one, Control, click, change that to inches as well. That'll come in handy when actually placing what I need to work with. So let's actually place some text boxes and place things inside of here. Notice that I've got 2 different pages. Here's my first page. I can open up my Pages palette, and I can see my page 2 is down here off by itself. Here's the reason why they're offset like this. Whenever I created my new document, one of the things I had checked off was facing pages. Facing pages means your document's going to be laid out the way it would if a book was naturally made. So imagine if there was a book sitting on your desktop. The first page you're going to see is just one page by itself, right? If I flip it open, I go to the next page. Page 2 is going to be on the left. And if I keep adding pages down here at the bottom, you can see it's going to be left, right, left, right. So as long as I'm adding pages, that's the way facing pages works. It's actually if you were facing the book. I'm going to delete away these. We only need to use 2 for now. That little bit was extra. So we're working on the first page that we're going to set up. First thing I need to do is to make a rectangle frame. We'll click and drag it out. I know I need to keep everything inside of here. It's going to be 7.5 wide, 1.5 tall. Remember, if you need a specific size, here's your width and height you can type in. 1.5. We'll drop that in. Oops, excuse me. Go to File and Place. And I think everything's on the desktop. Pictures, the header, is where that goes. So that one's placed nice and even in there. Same way for this one. Click and drag across. That one needs to be 1/2 inch tall, 0.5. I should have made this a text box. Here's another awesome little tip to do. Notice I made it with, it's got the little X going through it, an image. If you ever need to convert an image to a text box, or maybe even a text box to an image box, you can go to Object, down to, where is it, Content. Notice I've got Graphic, choose Text. Now it becomes a text box that I can use my type tool to be able to type into. And this is where that page information comes in. Open this up. So here's the little banner that's underneath it. All of this information, you don't have to retype it. I'm just going to highlight it and copy it. Jump into Illustrator and, InDesign. I'm working in Illustrator the last class, and paste it into there. Then all I have to do is to be able to format it. What's my Optima? Needs to be bold. Needs to be centered. And I do know needs to be, text color needs to be white. My picture, or the actual frame, we'll change that to be blue. Here's the next thing. It's asking me for it to be centered horizontally and also centered vertically. Now I've got it centered horizontally on each little side, and that's done this up here. I've got my type tool selected, so it allows me to change the horizontal alignment of my type. To do the vertical alignment, vertical is the top to bottom alignment. Right now, by default, everything's at the top. I want it to be centered. Here's how to do this. Change to your selection tool. When I got my selection tool, I have the box selected. Far over to the right, these are my vertical alignment settings. By the top is align to the top. Here's my align to center. Notice now my text is centered align. Whatever size box I create it, it'll be centered inside of that box. Pretty cool? Real simple. The trick for this one is make sure you've got your selection tool rather than your type tool. It'll give you different options from there. All right, last one. I'm going to go quick. I'm going to copy this one over so you don't have to watch me format it and just paste it in. But I will create another text box to flow that text into as well. So click and drag. Let's go back to our text document. There we go. I'll highlight my text, copy it, go back into here, edit, and paste in place. So when I paste it in here, it fits nice, plays well, fits nicely into my text box. To format it, of course, I want it to be Optima. Want it to be regular. We'll make it 11 points. Left aligned, 13-point leading. Need to type that one in. And I need a first line indent. And remember, our first line is our little indentation for each one, which should be this one right here of 0.25. All good. Here's the next new thing that I want to do. I want to break this up so that it fits nicely into one of these column spans. Right now, it spans all the way across the text box that I have selected. To break it up into multiple columns, I'm going to highlight my text. Look over at the very far right-hand side. This number right here is the number of columns that you have. By default, it's set to 1. If I was to make it 2, now you can see my text flows into 2 different columns. Higher the number, obviously, more columns that you have. Keep this in mind. The number of columns has to do with the number of columns inside of your text box. So it's spanning across, in this case, 4 columns on my page, but I've got, in this case, it should be 2 columns inside of the text box. Did I confuse y'all on that? Didn't? Okay. So there's that. If I adjust the size of my text box, naturally the text will also adjust as well. So what I want to do is just click and drag it until usually the bottom edge will line up as close as possible. There we go. Be a little bit of space right there. Pretty cool. All good from there. Same way for this one. This one down here, I want 1 text box and I want it to span across 2 columns. So if you see my columns, I would make 1 text box spanning 2 columns. Make sense? Versus this is 1 text box over 4 columns with 2 columns inside of it. Okay. All right, so let me copy over this last one down here. Let's actually work with the picture. So let's say we've got that one already created out. We're going to place the guy's picture inside of it. So I'm going to make a regular rectangle frame tool. I want it to be 1 inch wide, 1 1/4 inches tall. Let's place him inside of here. File and place. In this case, it's the program director. Say open. And remember, if you want to reframe something, click on the middle of it, and then click the edges, and you can change it around. As a graphic designer, what I try to do is have his eyes to be on the top 1/3. You won't really want to crop them off. Get it to fit in there pretty close. Yeah, that'll work for now. Then I can click and drag it into this area. Now, notice that the picture is on top of the words. What I want to do is to tell Indesign to let the words wrap around the picture that I have selected. To do this, I need to open up what's called my text wrap palette. And if you don't see it off to the right-hand side, you can go to Window, down to Text Wrap. And this will open it up right there. I have my picture selected. This first icon is saying that there's no text wrap. If I choose the next icon, this will wrap it around the box. Once I have it selected, now wherever I move it, it will flow the text around that particular area. You've got text wrap turned on. The next thing to consider, however, notice that my words go right up to the edge of my box. It doesn't really read very well. I want to give it a little bit more breathing space. That type of space is called outset. And so I'm going to give it a 1/8 of an inch. That's where these numbers come down here on the bottom. 1/8 of an inch on all sides. 0.125. And you can see a little box appears around that. That's the amount of outset space that's off of that. All cool? So once you get it set up, you've got text wrap around one image. It flows around this. I believe we're going to place it on that side. You don't always have to put text wrap, but you will have to crop out an image so that everything fits on there. And also you're drawing your lines to divide up the page. On this second page, in this case, I've created another text box inside of it, and this text box has text wrap turned on it. So if I was to move this out of the way, you can see this will reflow my, my image from here. There we go, now we can see it. So I've created a text box to span over 2 columns, and I've turned on text wrapping for that particular box from there. So it doesn't have to be an image, it can still be the any box or any object that you have selected from there. The final one is you're going to be copying and pasting all of these inside of here, changing the size of the font, and in this case it's going to have 4 columns of text to divide out from that. Questions? Did I go too fast for you? I think y'all can figure it out from here. Once you're finished with this, there should be a place on Moodle if I haven't opened it up yet. Save it as a PDF. You'll upload it to Moodle. Let's see if we can have it finished by the start of next class period. I'll see how well y'all can work from there.